Welcome back to my little corner where I talk about books that I'm reading, books that I'm writing. Mostly books that I'm writing, especially right now. I'm not reading as much as I have sometimes. I am BB Morgan, Beatrice B. Morgan also. I write fantasy. I write fantasy, mostly fantasy. I don't really write anything else. It's romantic fantasy, swords, shields, magic, mages, knights, those kinds of things. I have been dabbling in horror, but it's not going so well. And this is just a little vlog series that I wanted to do that kind of details just the ups and downs of being an author, things that I do, thoughts that I have, all the fun's behind the scenes things that you don't necessarily see when you're holding the final product that is like a published book in your hands. You don't get to see the emotional turmoil that goes into writing a book, the ups and downs, the mental breakdowns, the moments where you cry in the shower because you think you're a failure. Those fun things. Oh, I've got cat hair. Oh, it's cat hair. Probably a cat hair. There's a cat here somewhere doing cat things. So when I did my last vlog, I had jumped back into this high fantasy quartet that I've been fighting. Well, not really fighting, just kind of just slow going. I finished my draft of book 3. I finished it. Book 3 is now done. I have one note for myself and or an editor to take a look at, and it's mostly just a certain point of view character that I have that I'm not entirely certain needs to be there, and I have plenty of words, okay? I have plenty of words. I can definitely sacrifice a few chapters, but I don't know if this particular character's point of view adds anything to the narrative, or if, the rest of the story you can kind of glimpse his whole character arc without needing those chapters from his perspective. That's these are big. These aren't necessarily like the big picture things. These are more like your small picture things. Because it's been a long day. It's been a long week. Okay, I'm doing this on a Friday. I don't know if you can tell from this hair that I've been at work all day. Ooh, oh, hold on, I gotta fix that. Remember that one time I put lipstick on? It's probably not gonna happen again. What was I even talking about? Big picture and little picture things. That's what I was talking about. When I edit a book, okay, when I have a finished first draft, let's say I have everything that I think I need, I have put this first draft in. Each draft that I do narrows in a little bit more on like the type of thing that I'm looking at. Like when I'm doing like my first draft, my second draft, my third draft, I am focusing on like story, the plot, the character arcs to make sure that everything comes together at the end, to make sure all the scenes have purpose. And every draft that I do kind of narrows in a little bit. Like I don't worry about like word choices or dialogue tags or anything like that, like sentence level stuff, until I know the plot will not change. Although sometimes it has before, but that's neither here nor there. That's just one of those fun things that you don't know if you're gonna split a book in half until you get to the 8th draft. But you know what? It's fine. It's just one of those things. You can see that my little tag here, that's because my shirt is inside out. Because this is one of those shirts that has fuzzy stuff on the outside, but it's much softer than the inside of the shirt, so I have just turned it inside out, and it's much more comfortable. But I have finished the draft of book 4. Not book 4, book 3. I have finished the draft of book 3. Book 3 is done. The plot's not going to change. I am comfortable handing it off to an editor. It's a weird feeling. It's a good feeling. And now I have the task of book 4. And book 4 is the one that that I have gone back and forth between should it be one book, should it be 2 books. And I want it to be one book because I don't know if I have enough story for another book. So I think if I just, edit it well, self-edit as much as I can, it could be just one book. But of course, the first half is, I would say, like in like a draft 4 kind of stage. The second half of the book is in like first draft stage, maybe rough draft in some places, because this is a book that I didn't know how it was going to end. And now I know how it's going to end, and I like the ending, but it's a weird feeling because I know it needs work, and I know the second half is going to need a different creative process, like a different creative mindset than the first half, than know what I've been working on as far as writing goes the last several weeks. Because I've been in like later draft stages and it's a different mindset, reading your work and trying to make it better, to take the scenes that you've had and just twist them a little bit to make them just a little bit more, have more impact, if that makes sense. And now I'm not necessarily looking at like word choices. I am looking at like crafting the scenes in the first place. And that's it takes a different state of mind. Rough drafting and like moving from a rough draft to like a first draft, it takes a different mindset because you're not reading the scenes to see if they're good or not. You are crafting the scenes from scratch. You are building the dialogue. And that it's not that it's harder, it's just a different kind of mindset, and I have to be in that mindset in order to like write that way, like, in order to like make the rough draft, to make the scenes. Because there have been days where I will just, it just comes to me and I can just churn out 5,000 words in a sitting and it's just not bad. Like, it's actually pretty good. And like there's some things that I like rough draft and like that stays exactly that way until like the final draft. And there are other scenes where I struggle so much to just figure out who needs to say what, who needs to be in the scene, how do we get from point A to point B? I don't know. When I come to a scene like that, where I just don't have it in me to do it at that time, that's where you find like the little all caps in parentheses or in brackets, like add scene that does this or add emotion here. And like, I'll come back to this when I'm in the mindset to do that scene. And then I've been working on book 4. And I'm not very far in. I think I'm like 50 pages in. And that's a Word document that's like 250 pages long. That most of it is 1.5 not double space, 1.5 space, whatever that is. And then the second half is not that. So something that I've done that I've always done is, as I'm working, I work in Microsoft Word also, just to preface this. When I am rough drafting, I use like the standard, like 1 space, like the standard that is like the default. And then there's a certain point in a draft where I feel comfortable with like the plot. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is, moving into stage 2 of like the drafting process. So then I will go in and I will change the spacing so that it is like 1.5 or 1.115, 1.15. Like, it's moving from point, like stage 1, rough draft stage, into the plot's been finalized. Now we're ready to look at, character motivation or like words or like the scenes. We're ready to move into the next stage of drafting. And then, while I'm thinking about book 4 this week, I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across this video of this girl talking about this castle that's somewhere. I forgot. I don't remember that part of the video, but it's like this 7-minute long video talking about this weird castle that is somewhere. I wrote down the name because it was really cool. But she was talking about this castle, how like the archer windows, like it's weird because like the archer windows like face inward into this courtyard, and there's all like this weird feeling about it, how it's almost built to keep something in. I'm like, So I watched this entire video, saved it on my TikTok so I can go back to it, and I didn't stop thinking about this castle because it's such a cool concept. And I have just like almost unconsciously and obsessively built this castle in my brain and like built up this lore about it, and this not a lot of lore, just like a little bit, how it's like this real creepy place. And then I'm like thinking the entire time, like, what story do I have that this castle will fit into? What world do I have that needs something that a creepy castle with a mysterious pit underneath it would fit into? And like, I spent a little bit like going over all the works in progress that I have and trying to see, like, would it fit in this world? What would happen? What would these characters do? And I have decided where it's going to go because I have this high fantasy, the one with the librarian and like a fallen king team up a little bit, forced proximity. Woo! I spit out like a 70,000 word rough draft in like 2 weeks. But I got to the ending and I'm like, this doesn't feel like the right ending, because I know there needs to be more to happen. But I'm like, is this a standalone? Because I thought it might be a standalone, but then I got to like the end and I realized that like I really like this cliffhanger ending. Is this more than one book? And then I kind of pushed back from it, because I'm like, this is all I can do right now, because I need to think about this project more. And I kind of came to this conclusion that it could be a duology, but I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen in book 2, so I'm just going to set it aside until I figure it out. And apparently I figured it out this week, that this other book's going to have this castle with some mysterious force and a pit that's keeping something inside. What's inside? I don't know yet. I don't know. Something. But it's just, I haven't thought about this book in a while. Then all of a sudden it's like I have this other burst of inspiration that I got from TikTok. I want to point out, people that say TikTok is just numbing your brain. Nuh-uh, because I was thinking about that castle all day. Did I follow this person? Yes, I did, because she like talks about all kinds of weird stuff. So I've been thinking about this castle, and like I spent all this time. This is over the course of like 2 days, mind you. I spent this time like trying to fit it into my story, or like one of the stories that I have. And then I found the story that it fits into oddly well. And now this standalone, maybe duology, now has book 2 like basically figured out. Like I know what is happening in book 2. But then while I want to dive into it and I want to like get into book 2, I have so many projects that I wanted to do. And it's just I didn't yeah, it's like that, I go through this phase where I'm like, I'm never gonna have any more ideas. I don't know what book I want to work on. Nothing's jumping out at me, to like now where I have like all these projects jumping out at me at once. Like I have this Frosty High Fantasy with this castle duology. I'm trying to finish book 4 of this high fantasy quartet. I have the second book of the Blood Enchantress that I want to do. Oh, and then the contemporary romance that like I have this whole cave system idea for, that I also got from watching TikToks. Because then I saw somebody talking about Nutty Putty Cave. Then I looked into that and oh, that's horrifying. And then I read that one book that had caves in it. Oh, What Stalks the Deep. I finished that, by the way. Really good. I enjoyed it. It's very cozy horror, but like characters real quirky. I like it. Then I was like, what if this other contemporary horror? What if it has caves? And then I just kind of went off in this thing, and like I remapped like the second half of the story. I'm like, what if there are caves? And now there are caves in the story, and I want to jump back into the story so I can put these caves into the story. But now this other story is jumping out at me. And I don't have enough time in the day to do all of the things that I want to do. And I would love to be able to like do this full time, to like work on books full time, to get my books out there. But I can't do that and work full time. And I must work full time because I am the person paying all of my bills. Sorry, the cat made a weird noise and I was like, oh, what is that? Just a cat. Or until I become a more profitable author and my books start selling a lot more. So that way I can stay home and do this full time. But until then, I don't know. Oh, you hear that? My fingers just like, all like 4 of my fingers like popped at the same time. Oh, I don't like that. I am one of the people that like if someone next to you is like cracking their knuckles, I am flinching because it's just like, oh, stop it. I don't like it, because it just sounds like your bones are just crunching up to nothing. So that has been my week as an author. It's been one of those weeks where I've had just like burst of inspiration after burst of inspiration. I have so many projects that I want to do, and I just don't have enough time to get to them when I really only write on like Saturday mornings. And of course, this weekend I also have rough drafts to grade. So that's going to be the priority because, I'm getting paid to do that and I want to do it well so I can teach students how to write better. It is what it is. I enjoy teaching, don't get me wrong. Some of the essays kind of make me want to vomit, but that's what they're here for, to learn how to write better and how to not write one sentence that takes up an entire paragraph. They'll get there, probably. If not, well, I tried. So thank you for joining me on this little, what is this? Vlog. It's a writer vlog. It's an author vlog. Stay tuned for more of these as I go down the rabbit hole of what it's like to be an author, as I do small book review. Well, I don't really do book reviews. I do reading wrap-ups every once in a while because I don't know, I feel weird about doing book reviews as an author myself, but that's a whole nother tangent video that I have done. I didn't really like it, so I might redo it or do it as a Stardew something. I don't know. Stay tuned for more of that. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope it was better than my day. Here, cat hair. Oh, it's a disaster already.